We're now streaming on Facebook. How cool is that? Ishvan, good to see you. All right. So I'm thinking the stream that just started on my business page. Let's just share that stream as well. And anyone watching, if you feel so motivated to share the stream, that would be awesome. So let's share computer some. Hey, welcome to really the secrets of how to make more sales using public speaking. So do you want to learn the #1 fastest way to grow your business? Do you want to have more confidence that every time you hit the stage, you know what to say, you know you can rock an audience, and you know you can make way more sales? How about this? Do you want to have your audience spellbound, hang on your every word, and then to get invited back over and over and over again? Do you want more referrals and clients? Really, it comes down to, do you want to be someone who can rock a stage, massively quickly grow their business, or do you want to be someone who doesn't get invited back and makes no sale? This is about how to rock the stage. You are about to discover how I went from having no idea what I was doing as a speaker, being nervous, kind of a bad speaker, to huge referrals, sales, being invited back over and over, and being confident as a speaker. So you guys, we are pushing this out live to Zoom, and we have some people watching this live. So if you are catching this and you see me turning away, my assistant's over here helping manage the stream, and then I can see over here we have questions and stuff. I see Ishvan put his hand up. Can you log into the Zoom and see if you can read what his question is? Cool. So this is the secrets of making huge sales from speaking. This is what it's really about. Now, if you're someone who is not making a direct offer from stage, but you are using speaking to get referrals or lead harvest, this is about how you can radically and rapidly increase your bottom line through public speaking. So before we go on, before we do anything else, I'd like to share with you my why. This is why I do everything I do. I believe that you have a God-given mission that only you can do, and it can be fulfilled and funded through your business. And really, I believe that. Whether your God-given mission is based on your religion or it's altruistic, whatever it is, I believe that you have a mission and only you can do it. Maybe it's sending your kids to college. Maybe it's building a charity or a school. Maybe it's funding a charity. Maybe it's taking your family on an amazing vacation. Maybe it's creating great memories with the kids. Maybe it's, if you have a kid that has a learning challenge, being able to hire the world's absolute best tutors to help them. Whatever it is, I believe that your God-given mission could be fulfilled and funded through your business. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming by, for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy, although we did do this original live recording on a Friday afternoon, and I have a feeling some entrepreneurs are not as busy on Fridays as they'd like to be. So let this be some time of learning, some time for you to get excited, re-energized, and pumped up about your presentation. So what is the difference between huge sales, no sales? Invited back, blacklisted. And if you don't know what blacklisted means, let me explain it. In the speaking industry, let me back up. In any business where people are using speaking to grow their business, if you rock a stage, word will get out that you rock the stage and you will get more opportunities and stages. On the other hand, if you bomb a stage and you do horribly, then word will get out that you bombed that stage and people won't invite you. So for instance, in a lot of the arenas where I work, I'll make a direct offer from stage and maybe I'll sell an $800 to a $2,000 program. And where I'm speaking, I either pay the sponsorship fee to get on that stage or they get a piece of my sales. So if I bomb, then the audience isn't going to like the presentation and the overall effectiveness of the event will be pushed down, and then word will get out and the speaker who bombs doesn't get invited back. But on the other hand, if you rock a stage, if you just let it rip and you really move the audience, what happens is word spreads because you made the whole event better. Either you gave the attendees a better event, which makes the promoter happier, or you're selling and the promoter's getting a piece of your take, and the promoter now wants you back because you made them more money, and then they tell all the other promoters. So for a lot of my clients speak in real estate offices. If you rock a real estate office and you help the realtors make more money and you deliver a great presentation, then the broker is going to tell the other brokers in town how great you were, and you're going to get way more speaking gigs. So what's the difference between successful events and snooze fests if you're holding your own events? And what's the difference between standing ovations and people leaving the room while you're talking? There's one and one thing only. What's the difference between your biz rocking from speaking and you struggling? That one thing we're going to discover. Here's how I discovered it. The story begins with two speakers. But before I give you the story, let me see if I can check into questions. Do we have any questions or anything? Are we good? Ishvan had his hand up in Zoom. Let me see what's going on with Ishvan. Okay, he said hand raise was an accident. So ignore the hand raise. Thanks, Ishvan. So I found the difference, and it's kind of the holy grail of speaking, and I want to have you discover it with me. So I was on an event in Miami, Florida, and I was working for another speaker at the time. It's when I just started, and I saw the speaker talk, and he's talking to 300-400 people, and he grew his business by hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales that day. And after him, I stayed and I watched the speaker, and this next speaker had way better content, but no sales. And so here's the difference. The speaker, not the guy I worked for, but the other speaker, he had amazing content. The guy I worked for had good content. The speaker after had an audience that was bored and checking phones, where the guy I worked for had the audience laughing and crying. The guy that made no sales had people leaving, whereas the guy I worked for had a standing ovation. The other guy had very little new business, and the guy I worked for grew his business by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And really, the guy who had no sales, he was delivering like this. He was like, "Hello, I would like to talk to you about the break." Whereas the guy I worked for was like, "Hey," and he was animated. He's telling stories and has the audience cracking up. And literally, I see people wiping their eyes because they're crying from laughing, and they're crying because their heart was touched. And so I'm watching this, and I had an epiphany. The epiphany was, if I want to be a successful speaker, I had better be funny. And if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. The holy grail of speaking is how to be funny, but be funny for purpose, on purpose. And it's not just about getting a yucks and a laugh a minute. It's not funny for the sake of funny. It's funny because, well, I'll go into it in a moment, but it's funny because you're going to use humor to open the audience up. And when you get them laughing, then you can bring in a heartfelt moment and get them crying. And when you get them laughing and crying, they're emoting, which is emotion. And when you get their heart in motion, you will get their life in motion, and you'll make a difference. And when you get their heart and life in motion, then you get their pocketbook in motion. And that's when you grow your business. That's when you affect lives. And that's when their lives change. If you've ever listened to a very flat speaker and maybe good content, but they didn't touch you, how much did you take action on their info? But on the other hand, if you ever see the speaker who really touched your heart, I bet you took action on their info. So I've sat through many, 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 many presentations, and here is the number one rule. And if you're writing anything down, please write this down, because this is the number one rule for speaking. Are you ready? Don't be boring. If you are boring, you are done. There is no space anymore for boring speakers, and there's too much opportunity out there for good speakers, and there's too much competition out there that if you're not entertaining, you will lose your opportunity. But if you can be dynamic and entertaining, you will really touch the audience. And I'm going to share with you how to do that on this webinar. Well, do you want to be funny? Well, when you're funny, you can grab your audience's attention. You can get your audience to like you. You can keep them riveted just to you. You get standing ovations. You get people to spend more money with you, and you create wow moments in your presentation. You'll create presentations that people will talk about 5, 6, 10 years later. And from personal experience, I can tell you that is such a good feeling. When you really spoke and you changed someone's life or give them access to something new and you really help them, it is so confirming. So you also get invited back over and over, and you make way more sales. So I realized I need to be funny, and so I went and searched for the answer. I took on a journey to discover what I call the holy grail of speaking. So at the time, I lived in Las Vegas, and if you've ever been to Vegas, you know how many comedy shows there are in Vegas. There's a ton. So I went and I started going to every comedy show I could. And back then, remember the Palm Trio? I should pay attention to how old my audience is now. They might not know what do you know what Palm Trio is, Dan? Okay, my assistant has no idea what a Palm Trio is. We're going to cut that line out of the presentation. So it was a progenitor to the iPhone. It was like the first smartphone. And so I would sit in the back of the showroom taking notes. And I wasn't stealing their jokes. But what I was doing is I was watching, how did this person walk out on stage? How did this person structure their story? How did this person make me think they were going this way, and then they took a left turn and it became really funny? How did they wrap their presentation? And then I noticed a lot of these comedians, they'd always offer a T-shirt or they would offer a CD or something after the show. Some of them would have a huge lineup and some of them had none. And how did they make that offer? What did they do to be really funny? And I went with my friend AJ Pwade, who lived in Vegas at the time, and AJ's another speaker, and we went to show after show after show after show. I mean, almost every week we went to 2 or 3 shows a week minimum, and we're going to comedy shows, stand-up shows, big Broadway, big Vegas spectacular type shows. We went to everything, studying how do they make it a really great show. So the other thing I did is I became a comedy hypnotist. And I had no intention of really doing this, but it just kind of happened. And I remember the first night I'm doing a comedy hypnosis show. And before the show, I'm trying to talk to these people. And they're like, they're kind of not giving me the time of day. So then I do my hypnosis show. And after I get on stage, the same people are swarming to talk to me. And a light bulb went off and I realized when you rock a stage, it changes the social dynamics. And if I had been selling something, instead of me trying to get their attention, people would have been coming to me to talk to me, which would have made it a lot easier to grow my business. So here's probably the biggest show I did. This was a few years ago at an event in Texas called Mastermind Inspector Community. There's me, if you can see my mouse moving, there's me in the middle. And I had probably 45 volunteers on the show. It was an hysterical show, had a few hundred people in the audience. And then I've also been on TV. Here I was on the Daily Buzz, which is like Good Morning America for Generation X. And I hypnotized this guy and we had him do funny bits. If you notice, the girl in the black is watching because I had everyone on staff write down suggestions. So we had him dancing like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen and a bunch of other fun, goofy things. So I have done this. Having the capacity to be funny will get doors open for you that otherwise wouldn't open. And then here I am in West Virginia. So before I play this video, it's kind of tough to stream videos through Zoom to where you are. And I'm going to do it anyway. We'll see if it works because maybe it would be cool to have it come. Can you plug in and see how the audio sounds on your end? So we'll push this. If it skips or lags, hey, at least we tried, right?
From now on, whenever Matt or I touch our chin, you will act as if Matt and I stink, and it gets worse and worse, and the more we stink, the more irritated you get, till you'll finally tell us what you think about it. At first you'll try and hide it, but then you'll just let us know what you think about it about the 3rd time. Every time I touch my chin, we stink. 1, 2, 3, wide awake. So thanks for having me on the show. It is just a pleasure to be here with you guys. I absolutely love being in Wartown.
Is it a pleasure right now?
I think it's been a great pleasure.
I think it's just fantastic to be here, don't you?
You got a show coming up. We were talking about that. Tell us about that a little bit.
Oh, so tonight at the Hypnosis Show, what we're going to do is we're going to have some people come on stage. It's clean. We rate it, keep it PG because we don't want it to, too Vegas-y. So we keep it pretty nice over there. And
it's not very nice over here.
What's the matter? What's going on?
Do you have a certain cologne on or something?
No, nothing at all. I'm just. When I snap my fingers, you'll realize it's actually you that stink. So, what's going on? I'm
so sorry. I think that I forgot deodorant today.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry.
Tell us what's going on. You've been the one going through this. How's it been?
You might want to back up a little.
All right.
Yeah.
When I snap my fingers again, you'll act as if we smell amazing, and you'll try and hide it, but you'll be trying to sniff us. We smell so good. So, tonight's show should be a lot of fun. We'll keep it rated PG. We'll be working with people from the audience. We'll have them up on stage, and
I think you said you were going to keep it PG, by the way.
Yes, we'll keep it PG.
I don't know why that just came to my mind.
And the best thing is when people bring a big group of friends, if they can have one of their friends on stage, because sometimes they don't believe it's real, but then when they see their friends on stage, they realize it's absolutely real.
I could be that friend on stage.
All right.
So, my point is not for you guys to become hypnotists. That's not my point at all. My point is when you learn how to be funny, it opens people up and it provides you opportunity. So I went on that journey and I learned how to rock a stage doing hypnosis shows. And then I started training speakers, and I noticed very few of them knew how to be funny, and fewer knew how to be funny intentionally, that they had it pre-written and prepared into their presentation. And so just by the grace of God, I got connected up with a guy named Kevin Burke. So here's Kevin Burke. If you've ever heard of the show Defending the Caveman, it was a one-man show in Vegas. Kevin was star of this. Kevin actually won Vegas Entertainer of the Year. And Kevin has trained at Second City, where many, many of the most famous comedians of today have trained. He was on the student track. Also, he did the teacher track. Kevin won ABC TV's America's Funniest People, and he's really brilliant. So, he's also been on the Oprah Winfrey Show. So, Las Vegas Entertainer of the Year. By the way, talking about a business, Caveman did $10.5 million in sales, all by selling something funny. So, if you can combine funny with your content, that's when your business goes boosh and you just grow rapidly. On ABC TV's America's Funniest People, Second City, with ladies like this, the guys who did Stripes, Bill Murray, all those people. So Kevin and I teamed up and we started teaching people the secrets of using comedy in speaking. And I'm going to share some of those secrets with you now. So here's one tip, by the way, before I go too deep, I want to give you the easy way to be funny, and it's borrow funny. So what I mean by that is if you're on Facebook, if you're on Reddit, if you're on Instagram and you see something funny, grab it. I was watching the speaker once, and he was not a funny speaker. But every about 45 minutes, an alarm would go off, and he would literally say, "Time to be funny," and then he would just click through his PowerPoint, and funny pictures would show up. He'd read the funny pictures, the audience would laugh, and they all thought he was hysterical. And I'm looking around like, this dude's not funny at all, but they're loving it. So one of the things you can do, I think, that are hysterical is bad dad jokes. I think they're awesome. So, like, here's one. How do you find Will Smith in the snow? You look for the Fresh Prince. I think that's funny. What's the best thing about elevator jokes? Well, they work on many levels. So my point about this is just scour the internet for stuff that's rights free and put it into your presentation, and you'll get some chuckles. Now, the chuckles you get either need to pertain to your information or they need to gain rapport with your audience. If your laughs do not lead to a better relationship and or a contract or a sale, then you need to take them out. Also, you want to keep everything you do PG-13 or cleaner, in my opinion. If you cuss or you are dirty on a stage, you will get axed from that stage and they'll get rid of you. What's the worst thing about ancient history class? Well, the teachers tend to babble on. Okay, I got Diana that one. Yes. By Jase. Did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon? Man, the food's great, but there's just no atmosphere. My wife told me to stop impersonating a flamingo. I had to put my foot down. I think that's so funny. So you could borrow humor. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about some of the secrets of Be Funny, Make Money. This is the Speaker's Comedy Camp. So here's your mindset of speaking. Whatever you do in your presentation has to fall under this. So I want to ask you guys at home, take a moment and think to yourself, why are you there? Why do you think you're there? Why do you think you're speaking? And if you're watching live, go ahead and type an answer, and if Diane sees it, she'll tell me. Let me know if something comes up. Why do you think that you're there? Why do you think you're speaking? I'll give you a moment. To grow your business? Kind of. That's one of the reasons you're there. To have fun? That's important. Anything else? to be a superhero. I don't get that one, but okay. So none of those are the reason why you're there, though. Here is the number one reason why you're there. You're there for their win. What does that mean? The only reason you're there to speak is to help your audience win. They have a life, and you're doing something to make their life better. That is the one and only reason that you're speaking. If you're there for your own ego, that's the wrong reason. If you're there just to grow a business and you don't care if it will impact their lives, that's the wrong reason. What you want to do is find an audience who will win because of what you have to offer and because of what you have to say, and then share your message with that audience. And I know it's not obvious on the surface. And the more you focus on helping your audience win and the less you focus on your sales, the more sales you will make and the more you will grow your business. Really, you guys, the more you can help your audience win, the more they will buy from you. But the only way you can really help them win is if you take your attention off of you and you put it onto them. So what I want you to think about is ultimate outcomes. When you're writing your marketing and you're crafting what you're there for, what's the ultimate outcome of your speaking? So I'll demo it with this. Now I'm teaching you guys some stuff about how to be funny and how to use the tools of comedy, which you can overcome objections and you can get standing ovations, all that. But what's the ultimate outcome? Well, for me, the ultimate outcome of having this information is you touch a life, you change someone's life, you make a massive difference in the world, your business grows huge, and you become the person you always wanted to be. That part of you inside that's like knows you were made for more, you become that person. That's really what Be Funny, Make Money is about. It's not just about how to be funny, it's about fulfilling that. So for instance, I wore these intentionally today. Hopefully if I'm not clinking off the mic too much, but these beads are handmade beads from Uganda. And part of my mission is, I believe everyone has a God-given mission that only they can do, and it can be fulfilled and funded through their business. So let you see how pretty these are. So the reason why I was wearing these today is because I use speaking, because I know the secrets of comedy, I can make a lot of sales really fast, and I have the time to do what's important to me. And what's important to me in my life is making a difference for others, training others through my events, and then making a difference around the world and sharing God's love. So I'm leaving next week. In like 6 days, I'm going to Uganda on a mission trip. And so that's why I wear this. It's a reminder of what my business allows me to do and the difference it helps me make in the world. So I believe I'm doing my part to make the world a better place, and it comes out of focusing on my audience. So I want to help you live your God-given mission. That's the ultimate outcome. So for you, you want to figure out and think about, what is your God-given mission, or what is your ultimate outcome from your speaking, and really tie that in and focus on that every time you speak. So Funny Makes Money. How else does it make money? Well, all buying decisions are based on emotion and then backed up with logic. Every buying decision, really every action you've ever done is based on emotion. Now, a lot of times people say, well, what do you mean? I'm not emotional about everything I get at Costco. So let's see if we can come up with any examples that aren't. Let's say a toothbrush. Is there anyone in the world who goes to Costco or the grocery store and buys a toothbrush and says, oh, my toothbrush, I just love you so? Maybe not. But what would it be like to lean in to kiss a loved one if you hadn't brushed your teeth for 2 weeks? What would it be like to go for that big open mouth kiss if you hadn't brushed your teeth in a week? There's kind of an emotional reaction there, right? Or how about this? Nobody gets emotional about toilet paper, but what if you had none? There's the emotion. So all buying decisions are based on emotion. And when you can get people laughing and crying, when I say crash, I don't mean make them feel bad, but I mean touch their heart, get them crying with being touched. When you get them laughing and crying, you're moving their emotions. And when you move their emotions, you'll move their life, you'll move their pocketbook. So that's what I'm talking about. So here's the formula for speaking. Laughs times tears equals sales. Laughs times tears equals sales. That's it. If you have 0 laughs, you will get no sales. If you have 0 tears, you will get no sales. Very flat. But if you get a lot of laughs and a lot of tears, you'll make a lot of sales. So emotional management of the audience. Speaking is managing the audience's emotional experience. It's creating anchors, generating the emotion in yourself, and then bring attention to the emotion action you want. What the heck am I talking about? I'll explain it real quick. So when you're speaking, there's 3 parts: the material, the audience, and the presentation. So material, audience, presentation play together, and like a fuel needs oxygen, heat, and fire, humor needs these three things, or the fire or the fire of your speech goes out. So in your presentation, first thing is you. Whatever emotion is in you will become the emotion the audience has. And then when I said emotional management of the audience, I'll go back to the state so you can see what I'm talking about. When you have the emotion in you, then you want to create an emotional experience for your audience. So suppose it's a part of the presentation where I really want people to laugh, and maybe one person over here is laughing. What I'll do is I'll point at that person and I'll go, "You're really loving this, aren't you?" And then what will everybody in the audience do? They'll turn and they'll look at that person. They'll see him or her laughing, so they'll start laughing, and now I've got more and more people laughing, and then that laughter starts to ripple out. Now let's suppose I'm coaching and I want to create a very heartfelt moment, and I want to like bring the energy down, and I want people to like really get into their heart space. Maybe I'm sharing a touching story, and I notice Melissa over here has a tear in her eye. I will point to Melissa and say, "Melissa, you're really feeling this, aren't you?" And then everybody will turn and look at Melissa. They see her with a tear in her eye. They'll get a tear in their eye. And now I'm creating that emotional ripple throughout the audience. So it's like you're conducting a concert, but instead of instruments, you're conducting hearts. I've never said it like that. That is a great way to say it. You're conducting hearts, and you're taking them on this journey, emotional journey. Now, what I meant by creating anchors was, you want to have anchors in yourself that when you say and do certain things, it puts you into an emotional state because you practice being in this emotional state. The other thing I'm talking about with anchors is you want to have certain phrases or things you can do that have people get recalled to certain emotional states. So material, audience, presentation, it all has to flow off of each other. Now, as opposed to a webinar that's largely one way, every time you speak live, you can see your audience and interact with your audience. And it is a two-way thing because you can experience what they give you and then play with it or massage it and then give it back. So this is Chad, by the way. So Chad sent his marketing reps to my event in 2014, and he said this before the event. Company does 400 presentations. I realized we weren't converting as well as we could. At Dynamic Speaker Training, we learned the right mindset for speaking, delivery, and how to connect. By mastering, our business will be taken to a whole new level. So I texted him a year later. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He says, "Let me look at the numbers." So they had a 12.3% increase in sales, added 38,000 monthly revenue, and an annual increase of 48 presentations. That was 2016. Chad sent his marketing reps again to my event, and I just saw him a couple of months ago, and he said, "Our marketing reps have been called the best presenters. We now do over 500 presentations a year, and we're up to 9 million revenue on their way to 15 million. Now, I want to be straight. I know he's got other business coaching and processes in place, and learning how to rock the public presentations is the number one client-facing thing that's going to allow the businesses to take off. So here's your mindset of speaking. You want to train your audience on how to win. One of the things I do early in my, let me rewind in case you're taking notes, train your audience how to win. So one of the things I really believe is that an access to the life you want is by saying yes. Everything you've ever wanted that's great comes from saying yes. Everything on the other side of a hard yes was probably amazing. Every great marriage starts with a yes. Every great business venture starts with a yes. Every new client, you've got to have yes from you that you will go forth and ask for the sale. And then your prospect has to say yes to becoming your client. Every time you want to hire for the right person, they have to say yes, and you have to say yes to hiring someone new. So everything really great comes out of yes. I'm a huge believer that if people will spend more time saying yes, they will get more of what they want in life. So I want to train people how to say yes. So here's how I do it early on in my presentation. I'll show this picture, and I'll say, here's people who say no. Why do they look this way? Well, and now there's a side note. Here, let me get I'll hold up my glasses whenever I'm giving you the psychology behind the presentation. So here's some of what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach them a lesson, but I still want to make it funny. So here's some of the stuff I do to make it funny while teaching the lesson. I'll point to this woman over here on the upper left, and I'll say, well, why does she look like this? Well, because she's on this 1990s huge computer and she's really bummed about it. So the audience knows it's just an old picture, but it makes it funny. This guy's upset because no one's buying his ideas. No one's buying his, no one's giving him a raise, and his business isn't succeeding. So I made a goofy thing about her, and now I can come back and be serious about him. And now I want to give them an up laugh again. So then I'll go to these people at the lower right. Why are they looking like this? Because they're not getting nothing. They're saying no, and they're getting a whole lot of no. So yeah. And then I'll just move on. Like, I got embarrassed. So now the audience has a little chuckle. And then I'll say, why does this guy look like this? Because he can't figure out how to pay the bills. He spent a lot of money on growing his business. It's not working out. He's stressing out. So what I did by that last one, I actually brought stuff up that people in the audience are facing, because people in the audience are probably like, I spent a lot of money on coaching. How can I afford it? So I say, these are people who say no. Now, and then I'll tell the audience, write this down. The reason they look like this is because what you give is what you get. So people who say no get back a whole lot of no. Now, these are people who say yes. Why do people who say yes look like this? Well, the audience already has the answer. It's because they say yes, but I want to play with it a little bit. So I'll say, well, this guy over here looks like this because he found this awesome tie for sale, this 90s tie. So I'm also making fun of my picture. But really, why do they look like this? Because they get a whole lot of yeses back. Now, I don't give the audience a chance to answer the question yet, because I want to kind of build the pressure in them to say yes. So I'll go, all right, so let's take a vote. Who wants to be in the no column? Say no. And I'll turn my head like this. And who wants to be in the yes column? Say yes. And they all say, the audience says yes. Well, now I've just created a chain of yeses. Through these three slides, I've literally taught them something that I fully believe. By the way, I believe this. I was on a call yesterday with a really wonderful coach named Natalie Laiblock, and someone typed in a question. Oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Natalie. It was the day before. I've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives and stuff. I was on a thing with Natalie yesterday. Check her out. She's awesome. Day before, I was on a guest speaker on the Zoom, and we were taking audience questions, and someone said, hey, I'm not getting conversions. People aren't saying yes. And the first place I went to with the coaching was, if you're not getting clients to say yes, are you saying yes? If you're not having people say yes to your offer, are you being a yes? Because, and take it back to these slides, how you buy is how you sell. And I truly believe this with every fiber of my being. If I'm not making good sales, I'm probably not being a good buyer. If I'm crushing sales, I'm probably being a good buyer. What do I mean by that? Well, a couple of years ago, I signed up for a coaching program I could not afford, and I committed to myself I would do 3 years in this coaching program. And it was expensive, but I figured out how to pay for it. And since I started that coaching program, I've only had one person say they couldn't afford it, because I'm not the space for that anymore. I'm the space for people to say yes, because I am a yes to buying and a yes to life. Cool? So now I got the audience to say yes. They've all said yes, no. So now I'm training them, and I'm starting a sequence of yeses that trains them to say yes and to be a yes. So one, their life will get better. And then at the end of my presentation, do you think I'm going to make an offer? Yes, I am. And what do I want them to say to that offer? So I want to start that chain of yeses early. People buy stories, not stuff. They buy the stories you tell and the stories they hope to tell because they bought your stuff. So let's talk about stories. So this is one of the things I do. Most everybody wants to travel. So quite often I'll show this collage and I'll talk about, over here on the upper left, this is Banff Springs, Canada. That's the first class vacation I ever went on. I went skiing. Here in the middle, this is, what's that place in Australia where you go scuba diving? What's it called? The place in Australia, the Great Barrier Reef. That's right, the Great Barrier Reef. Here's New York, and then over here is Vietnam. Pause. When I'm going over this middle one, and it's a room of people, and I say, what's the name of this place in Australia where you scuba dive? Everyone yells out, the Great Barrier Reef. I know it's the Great Barrier Reef. The reason I pause like that is I want the audience to give me the name so they access what it is, and they're there with me on the journey. Then I say I took my staff to New York for a holiday vacation. When I say I took my staff to New York on holiday vacation, remember now we're talking about how stories sell right now. What's the subconscious implication, and what do you think of when someone says, hey, I took my staff? Well, one, my company's doing well enough I could take my staff to New York. Two, I have a staff. And then 3, I'm a cool enough boss that I would take my staff to New York. So it's a very subtle way of establishing some social principles that will have people want to work with you more. And then watch how I do this one over here, lower right. I talk about Vietnam. So my dad called me. My dad had been shot down in the Vietnam War. He was a prisoner of war in Hanoi. And he called me on 2 weeks' notice, and he said, we found the guy that shot me down. Would you like to go meet him? What do you think I said? I just got another yes. And now watch this. I said, how often do once-in-a-lifetime opportunities come by? And before I go on, I want you guys to know everything about to teach you an example. I fully believe this. So how often do once-in-a-lifetime opportunities come by? Write this down once when you miss them. See, when you have an opportunity for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and you take advantage of it, something amazing happens. But when you don't say yes, or when you're not ready for the opportunity because you have it prepared ahead of time, then the opportunity goes away and you don't get it again. So was going to Vietnam a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Absolutely. And there's going to be opportunities in your life that come by. Now, here's the secret. If you don't say yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, they're gone and they only come by once in a lifetime. But on the other hand, what happens when you say yes to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and you capitalize on it because you're ready and because you are yes to it? When you rock a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you get more once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. So when you say yes to this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you will get more once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. So for me, that was the first big stage I spoke on. I really had minimal training, but I did it because it was my dream, it was my passion, and I rocked it. And in one 90-minute presentation, I sold on behalf of someone else $96,000 worth of seminars, and that launched my speaker career. So for you, do you think it's important to say yes to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities? All right, now let me pop out of the presentation. Did you notice what I did with my body language right there? And by the way, I'm teaching you guys like the behind the scenes secret stuff. I said, how often do once-in-a-lifetime opportunities come by? So what am I implying is the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? It's me, and it's the opportunity to work with me. So I'm not saying it, but by touching myself, I'm applying it. And I fully believe this. When people work with me, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and their life will change radically, and they'll get more great opportunities. So now I want to cap the story about Vietnam. I just did a little teaching on once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. So what you're doing in a presentation, you're motivating and inspiring people to go for more. So now what I need to do is wrap this up and make it a little bit funny. So I'll jump back into what I do. So I said yes to that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I went to Vietnam. We met the guy that shot my dad down, and we kicked his butt. I'm just kidding. My dad actually brought him a bottle of scotch, and 10 minutes later, the bottle was empty, and they were telling war stories. It was a pretty cool moment. And then when I was in Vietnam, don't be too impressed because the exchange rate something like 1,000,000 to 1. But when I was in Vietnam, I had 1 billion Vietnamese dollars. So in Vietnam, I'm a billionaire. So time out real quick. It's just goofy. The exchange rate really is super high, but it's kind of interesting to see 1 billion on a receipt. And most people remember Austin Powers, so it's a callback to that. It gets a few giggles in the room. The more stuff you can sprinkle in, the better. So let's keep going forward. So here now, remember I said we want to take the audience on a journey. So one of the things we need to do, especially if you're going to make an offer from stage, or if you want to motivate people to really take on their life, you have to get people present to how short life is. And so now I'm going to demo for you a story that I tell about a real turning point in my life in the last few years. And I want you to get it as something, don't tell my story, obviously, in your presentation, and think about parts of your life that you could share. And then also, I want you to get the lesson of the story, because for me, it really has made a huge difference in my life. So here we go. I will jump back in. So a couple years ago, 2016 to be exact, I was speaking at an event and the theme was Ghostbusters. We had these cool Ghostbusters uniforms. And here I am on stage and I rocked it. I had some clients that were speaking there. They got huge standing ovations. I had really good sales. I met a lot of great people. It was one of the best speaking gigs that I'd done in a long time. And the event ended and it's about 6 p.m. and I get a phone call, and the phone call says, "Do you know Napa?" I said, yeah, Napa's my dog. And they said, well, he's at the vets. I said, he's at the vets. What happened? They said he was in a car accident. I said, he's in a car accident. What happened? And they said, well, evidently, the car ran into something, but we hear everybody's fine and we'll take care of Napa. And by the way, this vet did one of the kindest things that anyone's ever done in my life. She said, I have your dog. I'll do anything he needs and I won't charge you. I wound up giving her so much business. It was ridiculous, but it was such a kind thing to do. So I asked about the driver of the car and they said, she's fine. Everybody's fine. So I'm in Texas. I'm just going to stay in Texas. At the time I was living in Vegas. And then I get a call an hour and a half later and the vet says, Napa's lungs are filling up with fluid. He needs to go to the emergency thing to get put in an oxygen tank or he's going to die. And I hang up that call and I get another call and turned out my ex-girlfriend Jenny was driving the car. And they say Jenny's leg might have to be amputated. So in an hour and a half, I go from everything's great to like everything's a wreck. And I just kind of fried out. And I got to give a big shout out to Southwest Airlines. I called them an hour and a half before flight time. And I said, I have an emergency. I need to go home. And I got to the airport maybe 45 minutes, half hour before the flight. And the flight was full and they paid someone to get off so I could get on. So thank you, Southwest. I will love you forever. But I remember when I got those two messages that they may have to amputate Jenny's leg and that Napa may die. I remember I'm trying to pack my bags and I'm so frazzled. Like I had socks in my hand and I'm walking in a circle and I can't figure out where the socks go. Like, and so luckily my friend AJ was there. AJ like helped me get my stuff together, literally about a 4 o'clock, got packed, ran downstairs, back gave me a ride to the airport, got back to Vegas. So I got to Vegas and what was really interesting about the presentation I did that day though, was I had talked about this. I said, your toughest times are the soil for the seeds of your biggest breakthroughs. Literally, that's a screenshot of my presentation I did just hours before I got these phone calls. And for you guys, I want you to get this. If you're watching this webinar, especially if you want to be a speaker and make a difference in the world and you're speaking to change people's lives and to change your business future forever, you have been through some really tough times. And the tough times you've been through, if you believe in God and you allow it to happen, God will work through you and will use those specific tough times to make a change. So for instance, I have a client who she suffered a 3rd trimester miscarriage with twins. So it was really emotionally devastating. However, and she came to my speaker training and she got to a place where she sees how that can make a difference in the world. But here's what I mean. If I'm talking to a woman who's had a miscarriage, I could say, it'll get better. And she's going to say, who are you? You don't know my pain. But if my client who's been through it steps up to her and says, hey, this is what my client says, there's fun after that. Like that's her line now. If my client steps up to this woman and says, I've been there, 3rd trimester, I've been through what you're going through, and there's fun after that, then she can put hope into that woman's heart where I never could. And so my message for you is, you have been through some terrible things that you probably don't want to ever repeat, and I don't want you to repeat them, and they were miserable. And the truth is, if you will be used by them, the stuff that you personally went through will be used to create a greater world. And you'll get to a point where while you don't ever want to repeat it, you'll choose it because it made you who you are today that can make the difference you want to make. So I fly to Vegas and I go visit Napa, and here's Napa at the vets. He's all hooked up. He had to stay in there for a few days. He's fine, thank God. Since this time he's healed and traveled the world, but at the time he looked pretty rough. Here's Jenny in her bed. Jenny, unfortunately, they didn't have to amputate, thank God. She has had to have multiple surgeries. She had a full knee replacement, but she made it. And here's what happened to me. I saw Napa, I saw Jenny. I just came off one of the greatest days, speaking days I ever had, and then this happened. And I realized I had been socking some money away for like a rainy day or something. I don't even know what I was saving this money for, because people say you're supposed to. But something clicked in me. Oh, here's the truck. It was amazing they made it. When I pulled up and I saw the truck at the lot, I started crying. Like, I couldn't believe they survived. And here's what clicked in me. I realized I had been waiting. Like, I had been playing smaller than I could play, and I was like holding this money back I could invest. You guys, the time to invest in the big coaching programs is not when you're ready. It's when it comes in your heart to do it and you're willing to go for it. You know, the time to hire people isn't when you're ready. It's when it's time to go for it. And then you figure out how to make it happen. So for me, I quit making excuses and I quit waiting. This was a line in the sand in my life where I realized I'm going to go for it now or I may never have it. And so right after that, I signed up for a 1-year leadership program with a company called Landmark. I hired a personal coach and I joined a 1-year business development program. That year, I was busy. But you know what? I would rather be busy in the pursuit of the life I want than have a lot of extra time and regret it. So that year alone, I spent over $34,871 on coaching. I spent a lot on coaching that year. But then something amazing happened because that attitude infected me of I'm going for it because I quit waiting and because I became a better buyer. Remember, how you buy is how you sell. I became a very motivated, fast buyer. And that year, my business tripled. So for you, if you've been waiting, if you've been sitting on your hands, now is the time to go. All right, so time out from that presentation, back into psychology. If I landed that right, you're feeling something in your heart. You're looking at where you have and haven't been playing full out. You're looking at where you've maybe held yourself back or you're going for it. And hopefully you've committed to go for it. The reason this is important, I believe this in every fiber of my being, we had a group of people, my year-long speaker training is called Black Belt. And we had a group of people start last August. Literally 80% of them just had their best month ever. But they wouldn't have got there if they hadn't have made the big commitment to join Black Belt. And we had one guy who joined Black Belt, and 3 weeks before his first payment was due, he's like, I don't know how I can afford it. And he dropped out. And I see him a year later almost, and he's still where he was. He has not improved a bit with his speaking, and he's making no more cash because he wasn't willing and committed to leap. So I'm a huge believer that when we inspire people to leap, they get better lives. So if you're selling a program, if you want people to make you guys, how do people change more? When they commit bigger. So how do you get people to commit bigger? Get them to spend more with you. So instead of that being my worst year, it became one of my best years ever. And since then, life has gotten better and better. Right now, thank you, God. I hope it keeps going this way. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I'm touching more lives than I've ever touched. And it's just, I moved to a place I absolutely love. And I'm just so blessed. And I get to go next week to a 2-week mission trip. It's just, thank you, God. Don't want to repeat that day when I got that phone call, but I'm grateful for that day. So I went back and I took a picture in front of my truck because I had a license plate that said one life. And I want you to know this. You guys, you have one life. You have one opportunity. You don't know how long you've got. You don't know what you've got. This life today, right now, this call, this is your life. So here's a client. And now I'll tell a story of a client who had a change of heart. And then through her change of heart, how her life got better. And notice how through this story, what I'm doing is I'm going to be subtly selling my services. So I had a client named Rhonda, and she came to my speaker training. And before my speaker training, she was terrified of getting on stage. Now, I want to be clear. Our training is not just about getting over the fear of being on stage. It's how to be world-class and grow your business. But for Rhonda, she needed to get over that fear. So she has this huge breakthrough. She gets over her fear of being on stage. And I'm a big believer when you have a breakthrough, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, rewards you. So the last day of the event, Rhonda walks up and she shows me her phone and she has her email open. She goes, Jase, I just got invited to apply for TEDx. Should I do it? I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course you should apply. So because she had the breakthrough, because she came to the training, she had a breakthrough. Because she got the breakthrough, she applies to TEDx. She gets accepted to audition for TEDx. So we work with Rhonda on her scripting. We practice her delivery. She goes down there. She nails the audition, and she becomes a TEDx speaker. So here's Rhonda Taylor. She asked, should I apply? Here she is speaking at TEDx. This was her first public presentation since junior high. I haven't even been on a TEDx. So She's now a TEDx speaker. Her business is growing. She's living her dream life. Let me time out real quick. Notice I told the story about Rhonda, but in the background of that story was she had a breakthrough because she came to my event. So if I've told this story correctly, you're inspired to go for more. You see there's a way you can get on TEDx, and you'll see coming to my event is access to it. Plus, even if nobody ever came to my event, I would want them to know the story because I want them to know if they get a breakthrough and if they go for it, things will open up in their lives. Remember I talked about those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities? Rhonda said yes to one, and now she's getting more. This is Matt. By the way, when you're showing testimonials, you want to give testimonials and reviews about your business in different formats and for different buying styles. So if you're in the internet marketing, digital marketing space, you know who Matt Basak is. He's one of the most powerful, his name was Power Promoter. He's one of those powerful promoters. He's one of the top internet marketers and trainers out there in the world. So people that know Matt. And Matt always wears this outfit. He's got brown shirt, brown shorts, and he wears a hat no matter where he speaks. So people that know Matt know Matt. And Matt speaks a certain way. So I've cleaned it up for this presentation, but here's what Matt said about my services. Dude, you've made me so many effing sales. So people that know Matt know that's what he would say. And I want to show the audience that I've helped different types of people. So you want to put different types of testimonials in. Here's Nick James. He's in the internet marketing training company. He said, Jase helped us with marketing our message. So far, we're seeing the highest double-digit conversion rates we've had. He's given us insight, tips, and suggestions. Top product leaderboards, here we come. And then he sent me this text. If anyone asks what kind of double-digit conversion rates, see the post. It's converting really well. And if you guys are familiar at all with English people, you know that's like super high praise because they're always so, low-key about stuff. Let's talk about stacking. So now I want to jump into some content now, specifically on humor itself. Stacking is what you could do to milk a moment to get more humor out of the presentation. So keep adding to get all you can out of each joke or humor point, add to the existing foundation, add jokes to jokes, and then make a joke on the added joke, just like my friend Don. And then you're going to have a cap on the whole thing. So here's what I mean by that. So Don would be speaking at one of my events, and he'd just be talking, and someone would sneeze, and then Don would stop, and he'd go, I have a friend who almost died from that. And then he just goes on with his presentation. So what do you think everybody in the audience is doing? They're all going, wait, what happened? What happened? And then Don goes, oh, well, he was in his neighbor's wife's closet at the time. So there's the humor point, right? So he gets everybody's attention. He nails the humor point. So a guy almost died from sneezing. And the joke is he was in his neighbor's wife's closet at the time. So that's the first layer of humor. Now Don wants to layer in more, and he'll pause and he'll go, I'll go home from a speaking gig, and I'll say, and my wife will say, honey, how did it go? And I'll say, it was awesome. And she'll say, what, did somebody sneeze? So that's how Don can layer on a couple of more layers of funny out of that one moment. So as you're writing your presentation, start to look at what can you do to layer more and more and more. By the way, if you're ever in Las Vegas, there's a day show called Mac King, M-A-C, last name King, K-I-N-G. He's clean. It's a magician, but he incorporates comedy, and he is the most scripted. I think he is probably, if not the one of the top entertainers currently working on the Strip in Las Vegas. Every line is elegant, every line is scripted, and every line adds to another bit of humor. It's just, in the world of writing a presentation, it's perfect and it's clean so you can model it. Don't steal, but model. So stage mechanics, rule of three. In comedy, you want to learn the rules of three, and I'll talk about that more. Here's what it is. In life, 1 + 1 = 2. In comedy, 1 + 1 equals anything but 2. The way my friend, Kevin Burke, who you'll meet at Be Funny, Make Money, said that comedy is like leading people down the garden path and then turning the sprinklers on. That's what comedy is. So you want to set people up for an expectation and then go the other direction. So for instance, I wrote a presentation and I was overcoming entrepreneurs' reasons to not build their business. And so I made like a top 10 list. So I'll have 1, 2, and then the third will be a zag. So the first one was, I don't have time. And everybody in the audience was like, yeah, I don't have time either. There's not enough time to grow business. Well, another reason to not start your business is I don't have the money. People in the audience are like, yeah, I don't have the money. That's why I haven't started my business. And I'll say the third reason to not start your business is I don't have business cards yet. And everybody laughs at that one because it's funny and it's ridiculous. Like, how ridiculous to not start your business because you don't have business cards. But here's where I can zing them. So I got them laughing, and now I can crash them. The way I zing them is I say, I don't have business cards yet is no more valid than I don't have time or money. It's just an excuse. And saying I don't have time or I don't have the money is an excuse, just like saying I don't have my business cards yet. And if they really get it, and if you get it, you'll know that it's just an excuse, because you will always find the time and you will always find the money if it's important enough to you. So this is another client of mine, Susan Crow. Now, write this down, different types of testimonials and reviews. Not everybody that's going to consider coming to my event is going to be someone who is an entrepreneur. So Susan actually used my speaker training to go out and raise money for a charity. And so I know if she did it, then there's probably other people out there in the market who would be interested in the same thing. So in my testimonial from Susan, it's kind of hard to see her, but she's right here in the middle and she's getting a standing ovation from the crowd. But here's what she said. She used it to raise money for her mission trips. Before speaking, she did $1,000. Since she's using speaking, she made $11,000 in donations. She has increased it by, what percentage? 1,100%. She has increased her donations. Another thing to use in telling stories is pauses. Pauses are the moments between humor points in which you can use to your advantage. You can leave room after a humor point so the audience can react and enjoy. What I mean by that is, I remember when I was a little kid and my dad took me to see the movie Airplane. And I remember that people were laughing so hard that I couldn't hear the next 2 or 3 jokes. Well, when you're speaking live, if you've got really good content, if they can't hear the next joke, you just wasted great content. But because it's live, remember that triangle, we have you, we have the audience, we have the material, you can read the audience and you can buy time for the laughter to die down a little bit before you put your next funny piece in. So boom, you can get more laughs, and then boom, you can raise the laughs even more. So you can time it out using pauses. Also, pauses milk the moment for more. They make one humor point last longer, and it avoids ruining the next one, just like when I was an Airplane. And then also slow people need time to catch up. So that's how you can use your pauses. And you can really make the space between the humor points the funniest part. You can milk it for more. Now, I had a client, and she was one of the first millionaires in a network marketing company, and she was going to speak at their national convention. So I wrote a presentation for her, and I'm watching the video, and I wrote this one piece that was really, really funny. And she hadn't been to my training on how to be funny yet, so she didn't know about pauses. So there's thousands of people in the audience, and she lands this humor point, and the room is losing it. Thousands of people are cracking up. Well, in that moment, do you want to kill that energy, or do you want to build that energy up more so they have even more time and you bring the room up? Obviously, you want to build the energy up, right? But she didn't know this. So while everybody's laughing hysterically, she's going, shh, and she's just pressing the energy of the whole room down. I'm watching the video, the replay, and I'm just like, oh, oh. So instead, what you want to do is milk the moment for more. So here's some things you could do with pauses. You can do facial expressions, like you can have a blank face, or look confused, like, is something going on? Why was that funny? Or look around. Now, I know these might seem weird with me doing it on a webinar, but if the audience is laughing right now and I'm doing these, they'll start laughing more. Seem surprised? So those are some pauses. I hope those help. By the way, I'll tell you a quick story. We had a guy come in who was a very literal thinker, and we're talking about pauses, leave room so the audience can laugh and enjoy. Leave room after a humor point so the audience can laugh and enjoy. So we taught this at the last Be Funny, Make Money. And this guy's very little, very smart guy, really good guy. Had a military background, and they're used to following, orders. So we're doing Q&A, and he raises his hand. I go, yes. And he goes, how long do you leave the room for? When I said leave room after humor point, he literally thought leave the room. You don't want to literally leave the room. You just want to leave time and space. I thought it was funny. So there's some things you can use. Here's David and his wife, Michelle. They came to my training. He says that he's grown by a little over 90,000 of revenue because they're using public presentations. Here's Hank Lobdell. Hank said he did a 5-minute presentation. The great feelings when you're done walking to the back, agents smile at you. He's smiling more. He said that, and here's the money, which is really cool. Well, one is even cooler than the money. His relationship with his wife is even better. See, guys, what's in you isn't expanded on stage, so we need to do work to clean you out so you're more on fire in life, so you're more on fire on stage. So this year he's up 12,000. He started August 2018, and in September through December, they're up $50,000 over the previous year. So by learning these tools, he's up $50,000 in just September, October, in just 4 months, they're up $50,000. Not too bad, huh? So remember the number one rule: do not be boring. So is it time for you to be a better speaker? If you're watching this and you're thinking, I think I can do some of this, or I think there's value here, or I'm ready to grow my business, or I'm ready to really make a difference in the world. Well, is it time for huge revenue growth? Is it time to be comfortable on stage? Is it time to be confident? Is it time to be excited about your next presentation? Is it time for you to own the room? Is it time to be the person that people can't wait to see? Like, imagine if people are so excited to have you come in and speak. Is it time to master the art of storytelling? Is it time to be funny? Is it time for your message to be heard? Is it time for you to make a difference? Is it time to bring out the best you? That it's time for Be Funny, Make Money. So here's how you get to Be Funny, Make Money. Oh, by the way, it might be loud again, so I'm going to mute myself here. Can you check the audio, make sure it works on that end? I'll show you a quick sneak preview about what Be Funny, Make Money is all about.
If you want to learn the secrets of turning your presentations into something more fun and engaging to your audience, you should attend Be Funny, Make Money. We followed several of our students along their path through this program and asked them to share their experiences attending Be Funny, Make Money.
I'm hoping that I'm going to be made funny, because that's why we're here. And learning how to use comedy as a sales tool, both for ourselves and then also to create relationships in the business world.
People who are laughing just seem to be more interested in the conversation. And by being able to do that, I can promote my business.
The reason I'm here is I'd like to bring comedy into my presentations. I feel like when you're giving a presentation, the room is tense. Comedy will relax the room and allow me to have more sales.
Things that I've heard from Jase in the past is that this is one way that you can not only improve your business, but you can improve other people's lives, which is what I'm looking to do.
Learn from some of the top comedy presenters and the top writers in the world on how you can take your presentation to the next level.
Wow, this has been such a great experience. I have been learning so many wonderful techniques.
The type of stuff we're learning, how quickly we're learning, it's just totally awesome.
So I've been learning so very much from the likes of one of the greatest comedians in the world. The techniques that we are learning blew my mind. I mean, it opens up the opportunity in any presentation to take it to the next level.
So the most important thing I've learned so far is really how to use comedy to ride the emotional waves of the audience, help bring them up with you, and I really think that's going to help increase our sales and our presentations from now on. And tomorrow I'm really looking forward to doing some magic and learning some of those components to spice things up and keep everyone on their toes.
We're teaching magic right now.
So when we do Be Funny, Make Money, we have to go to a comedy show. Come on.
Having Jase and Kevin as trainers has been an awesome experience. They're top-notch, and they can help you in every way to have you do things you never thought you could do.
I work in the home inspection field, and a lot of the presentations we do are on technical subjects, which are not inherently funny. And using these skills that we've learned with Jase and Kevin this weekend is going to be so amazing in helping us take our presentations and including the technical knowledge, but making it fun and accessible for everyone to understand.
I can see how Be Funny, Make Money and all that we learned here with Kevin and Jase this week is really going to take my presentations to the next level.
3 days of this training has been pretty intensive. It actually reminds me of my day in the military, how we have constant action and study and reaction and training. And this has been a great thing for me. It's helped me become more polished to speak in front of groups, more spontaneous, and it's been a great help for me, and I look forward to having it just continue to improve.
Now I'm a comedian. After this event, I've learned how to bring comedy to my presentations. We've learned scripts, we've learned techniques, we've improv'd, we've written stories, and I feel like I'm going to be able to better connect with my audience, which is going to lead to more sales. I'm so thankful for Jase and Kevin to teach me how to bring comedy into my presentations.
When you're ready to learn from some of the top comedy writers and presenters in the world and learn how you can turn up the funny volume on your next presentation, sign up for the next Be Funny, Make Money right now.
So let's talk about how you can get to Be Funny, Make Money. Before we do that, this is a mother-daughter team. On the left is Jeannie, on the right is Sarah. And they said that our training, they said their dynamic speaker trainings, it's more than learning effective presentation skills. They said that it's learning how to be a more effective person on all levels, which will help grow your business, your relationship, and your life. So whether you're talking one-to-one or one-to-many, she now has the confidence to implement the tools to connect with others, her team, and family and friends on a more personal and authentic level. And then here's Sarah, and Sarah said that before attending, they had scheduled 8 presentations in 7 months. They had trouble getting presentations and even more trouble creating presentations that would convert. Well, now they're more authentic in their delivery, and they've changed the way they approach people. And just the first 2 months of 2019, they've already presented 7 times. So it's way more than they did before, and they have 2 more scheduled. So here's what we have for the live event. Here's what's available for you guys. It's the Speakers Comedy Camp. It's a live event, improv. So what we're going to do is improv is essential to learning comedy. And it's not that we want you to be improvised on stage. You must pre-write and learn the techniques and the tools that we're going to share with you on how to really rock a stage. What is important in improv, though, is if you're in sales or customer service, you have to know the tools of improv, because improv allows you to deal with anything that happens and make something better come out of it. The reason it's important for speaking, if the audience reacts a weird way, or you get someone who's kind of off, or someone gives you an objection, you can roll with it, you can deal with it, and you can make a real positive out of it. You're also going to learn the tools and techniques, the mechanics of comedy, so that you can create amazing presentations. And now no one has to get up on stage. For those who want to, we'll have opportunities in group practices and some one-on-one coaching where you can get on stage and we'll coach you on your delivery, and we'll do some group improv things where you can get up there and learn how to be more comfortable on stage and learn some improv. So because of all that, we limit the class size. That video you saw, we're going to be in that exact same room. So we only have limited seating available. So I'm put the link up in a minute where you can register. You want to grab your seat fast, because literally when we sell out, we really sell out. We can't, it's not like one of those big seminar rooms. We can take as many as we want. The reason we keep it small is we want to give as many people as we can a chance to be coached. Plus, when we're doing the improv activities, well, you can only work with so many people at once. We can't work with 100 people. So limited seating. The retail value on this is $3,500 per person. Here's the offer I have for you guys. But before I show you that, is it worth $3,500? Here's Jen Truesdale. She says she now knows how to prepare. She's more confident. And because she's more confident, she met Chuck, who is the love of her life. Now, she's not doing more presentations, but she's doing better ones. So last week at BNI, last month after BNI, everyone in the room was in tears. In other words, she got them laughing and crying. She moved the room. She made a huge impression. And she did an enrollment for 25 people for Aflac. In the past, that would have been 10 to 12,000 in sales. For Jen, she sold 24,000. So for Jen, was it worth it? She more than doubled her sales. So if you're doing merchandise sales, by the way, or you have a product or service, or you're making up sales, we're going to share some secrets on that. Merchandise sales in Vegas are measured in dollars per person, just like on a webinar or seminar, they measure dollars per person, how much you sold. Well, David Copperfield will do about 38 cents per person. My co-host, Kevin Burke, when he was doing Defending the Caveman, he would do $4 per person. He would do over 100 times more than David Copperfield on merchandise sales. So we're going to share with you how to do it and how to get more sales. Now, here's Blaze. In 2017, before training with us, well, he wrote this after the first training. He's now asked to come back again and again. His income went from $36,000 a month to $63,000, 18 presentations to 60. If you're considering, you should know it's about more than being a better speaker. It's about being a better you from the inside out and getting to know and like yourself a whole lot more. Then I saw Blaze just recently, and Blaze said he's got more requests to speak. People are asking for presentations. They're asking to do interviews on Facebook Live. He scheduled 30 presentations in March alone. So 2017, he was doing 60 presentations. 18. Okay. So 2015, he did 18. 2016, he did 60. And now in 2019, he did 30 in March alone. Is that cool or is that cool? So he's more than doubled our revenues from speaking. They went from 415,000 to 893,000. They're about to pass $1 million. So here's some other bonuses we have for you to get you to say yes to this offer right now. We talk about taking you to a show. I found something even better. Kevin Burke has a new show, and he's going to do a private show just for us. And what we're going to do is we'll finish the day, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come in, and Kevin's going to do a private show just for us. And then the next day, we're going to break down how he created the comedy for the show, how he delivered the show, and what he did to make it so powerful. So that's going to be super cool. Here's Andy Tolbert, who's come through our training. Andy was selling her trainings for a couple $100 each. After she went through our training, she put together a package for $6,600. She made a lot more cash. This is Islet. Islet is a doula in Israel. She pitched her program the way I taught her. 4 people signed up on the spot. And 1 week of beginning to work with me, she gave a presentation that earned her over $4,000. And just as good, she's teaching women something that's going to change their lives. What can be better? You guys, you can use speaking to make a difference and to really grow your business. What could be better? So we're also going to teach you magic for speakers. It's not that I want you to go out and do magic tricks on stage. It's that when you learn how to do magic, it takes your speaking from here to here. There's something about moving your hands and talking at the same time that makes you a much better entertainer. And something I discovered on my travels was that the world's best closers and speakers all were either magicians or had an interest in magic and knew how to do some tricks and had like studied. I think it's because, well, I don't want to give you terms you don't know yet, but I think it's because there's a thing called sightlines, concealment, and misdirection, where you bring the audience's attention where you want it, which when you're doing marketing and sales, you want to learn how to bring the audience's attention where you want their attention, and then how to take their attention off the negatives so that you can help more people and you make more sales. Just in short, I'll just say this. The reason we teach it is the world's best speakers all have a background in it, so you need it. Normally that'd be $1,000. Instead, we're going to include it absolutely free for everybody who says yes today. So here's what we have. Oh, I forgot I was including this one. I'm about to do a one-to-many masterclass where I'm going to teach you some behind-the-scenes secrets of selling one-to-many. So it's an 8-week course, and it's how to create a close, the mindset of selling to groups or in person, writing an intro that sells, how to rock the platform, how to tell stories to the unconscious, creating killer keynotes and PowerPoints with secret influence to do in your presentation, how to get testimonials and reviews, how to use comedy and speaking, and then how to get gigs. I'm going to be teaching this all online, and you can either watch live or watch the replays. The value of the one-to-many masterclass is $3,170. For everybody who signs up today, you're going to get access to that absolutely free. And I created a template. I use this template every time I speak, and it allows me to get some of the highest sales in the room and the best reviews. It's a 3-page template plus 2 videos. Alicia used my template, rewrote her approach, felt total confidence. She had people handing her their business cards, asking to work with her. She came off stage. She booked 3 appointments on the spot. Would you like those results? Well, you're going to get my template free. Here's what Ken did with my template. He used it to get organized. His first sales presentation to a small group of business owners resulted in over $32,000 in revenue. In fact, he had 11 business owners. He did $32,000 in sales for his business. So here's Rob and Michelle. They used my information and coaching. They spoke at their conference. They got a huge standing ovation. People in the audience said you inspired the conference. People said you're fantastic and inspiring. People said you're great. Thanks for being a part of our life. And then Rob wrote me an email and said, since helping us fine-tune our message, perfect our delivery, we've been rocking presentations. We've had office managers schedule us for repeat visits before we leave. Many agents and managers told us we're the most professional, well-trained speakers they've ever had. So, you know, I showed you Islet, and she made $4,000 in a week after working with me. On the other end, we've got people like Rob and Michelle who have the confidence to do it in a big way, and they're going to make $130,000 for the month. So we've covered the whole spectrum because what works in speaking at any level. So I want to give you the information so that where you are, you can start rocking, making a lot more sales. So you're going to get the template. That's $150 value. So here's the whole offer I have for you guys. The workshop's $3,500. The Kevin Burke show is $60. Magic for professional speakers is $1,000. one-to-many sales is $3,170. Profitable presentation templates $150. The total value is $7,880. That's not your price. Your price today, when you say yes, is only $997. So how do you get it? Go to bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. It's let me show you what it looks like when you go to this page. bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. So bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. You're going to get a simple page come up where you can order. Right there, we take it down from $7,880 to $1,000, and you could buy as many as you want at $1,000 each, and they will get all the bonuses. Now, we do have limited seating available, so you want to say yes and get onto this as soon as you possibly can. So I have some other really cool things to share with you, but make sure you go right here, bit.ly.com/, let me change the color on it so that you can see it even better. bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. Couple other cool things to share with you guys. Remember I told you about my year-long coaching program? Well, the first part, if you want to have any of this, is to get to be funny. But here's some people I coach, and I want to share with you what the people with circles around them have in common. Everyone with a circle around them, we were on the coaching call a couple weeks ago, and it came out that every single person right there just had their best month ever, or their best month in like 10 years. So if you want to have your best month ever, here's the access to it. Get yourself to Be Funny Live so you can learn how to be a way better speaker and make way more sales. It's time for you to start crushing your sales. All these people had their biggest month ever in April. So it's only $997 risk-free investment. Look, if you don't love it, I'll refund your money, but you're going to love it. So to get this price, all the bonuses, all you have to do is go to bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. And as a bonus, for those of you who are maybe on the fence, you're thinking about it, you're either one of a few places right now. You're like, yes, I want it. So go to the website and get it right now. Or you're maybe like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. There's no getting ready. You just show up and we get you ready. It's kind of like it is transformational. You come in on Thursday, you leave a different person on Saturday. So I don't have a slide for this, but we have an extra surprise bonus on the 30th. So the event is the 27th through 29th in Vegas. And by the way, we do a non-smoking hotel. There's no gambling in the hotel. It's off strip. It even has an airport shuttle, which is incredibly rare in Vegas. And on Sunday the 30th, we're going to have a surprise half-day bonus training. And in that, I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to use videos in your business. I'm also going to talk about how to get testimonials and reviews that will help you make way more sales and establish your social proof. And then I have a couple of guest speakers that are going to be talking as well about how you can really turn up your business. We'll go from about 9 to 1:30. It's completely optional. And if you want it, that training is absolutely free for you as well. And then the last thing I have for anyone who's interested in this today is one other bonus, a one-on-one coaching session with me. An hour coaching session with me is normally worth $500. I'm going to give that to you absolutely free because you signed up today. Now let's us start diving in on your presentation so that you can rock way better. We can look at your sales process, your presentation, your comedy, your scripting. Usually what will happen is I'll find where you have pieces missing and we can put them in so your presentation gets world better. In fact, when I told you earlier, I was talking to Natalie. I was on Facebook Live with her yesterday, and she told me a story where She was going to speak at an event, and I saw her prepping, and I walked over and I talked to her, and I gave her like 10 to 15 minutes in coaching. She changed her presentation, did it the way I coached her, and she got like 5 clients out of her presentation that she otherwise wouldn't have got. So if you want more clients, here's your access. So that's free for you. It's $500, and your total investment is $997. So all you have to do to get all of this, all of the bonuses, is go to bit.ly/BeFunnyLive. That's bit.ly/BeFunnyLive. Am I leaving anything else, Diane? Have I covered it all? So I think that's it. So let me open this up, see if there's any questions, any Q&A. I'm going to stop my screen share, see if there's any questions, Q&A from anybody watching. Anybody have a question, or anyone have something they want to ask? I'll stay on for a couple of minutes, ask any questions. Hey, James McGaw is on. Did we ever get his phone number? James, do me a favor, message me your phone number. We've been trying to call you. I'm so glad you got on the call. Good to see you here. So, you guys, it is a delight. I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas. This could be the one event that changes everything for you. Speaking is the #1 fastest way to grow your business. And the #1 way to get great at speaking is learning how to touch the heart and use the tools of comedy and magic to become a world-class speaker. So go to bit.ly.com/BeFunnyLive. It was a pleasure. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys soon.